Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we're taking a look at a very popular charades style game. This is Monikers. Monikers here is a re-implementation of a public domain idea or game called Celebrities, in which there's a bunch of cards and you are trying to get your teammates to guess those things. It's the same idea that went into Time's Up. In fact, they're very similar games. In this one, you're going to be playing 3 rounds. Each round, your clue-giving abilities get more and more restricted, and ideally, comedy ensues. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at how the game works. I'll show you on the table. We'll come on back. I'll tell you what I think of it. Does comedy indeed ensue? Let's find out. The game's going to be played over 3 rounds, and at the end of the 3 rounds, whichever team has the most points is going to be the winner. To set up the game, you're going to split the players into 2 roughly equal teams, ideally 2 equal teams, and then you're going to shuffle up the cards and deal everybody 10 cards. As you can see, the box is just a giant stack of cards and a rule book. That's all you're getting in here, okay? I've already gone through and selected a few. Some of these are a little risque, so I've gone ahead and selected some that are fine. But I'm still going to shuffle up and deal myself 10, just so you can see the kind of things you might encounter in here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there we go. I'm one of the players. I have my 10. Everybody can do this simultaneously and silently. So I've got a puffer fish. I've got the pea dance, grumpy cat, Florida man, Frida Kahlo, Icarus. The lady who spilled coffee on herself at McDonald's. It really says that. The Swedish chef, Gallagher, and Angry Birds. So I would pick from that. Angry Birds is in, Gallagher for sure, Icarus is going to go in, Frida Kahlo, yes. We're going to put in the pea dance, that's 5. Okay, there we go. And so these would be out, and everybody's doing this. Then we take all the 5 from everybody, and we shuffle that up, and we are ready to begin. So like I said, we're going to play in 3 rounds. Each round, someone on your team is trying to get the rest of your teammates to guess these cards. Trying to get as many as possible in 60 seconds. The first round is going to be, well, before I talk about what the rounds do, a couple of rules. The teams keep the cards they guess correctly. They take turns giving clues, and the round is over again when we go through all of the cards. Round 1, you can use any words, any sounds, any gestures, except the name itself. Even reading the text is allowed. So, for example, if I'm really stomped on getting my team to guess Angry Birds, I can just read what it says. A video game franchise about hostile avians who fling themselves across the screen to rescue their eggs from green pigs for some reason. I can read that. And somebody will say Angry Birds, and then we bank this one, I grab the next one, and I start. A prop comic famous for smashing watermelons with his trademark sledge-o-matic. You know who that is. It's Gallagher. So there we go. Once all the words are gone, or the 60 seconds are up, then it's the other team's go. Once we've burned through all of the cards, we are going to write down our scores, and every card has a number of points at the bottom. Also, a clue, like historical figure, fictional character, etc. Just means something else. So we add up our victory points, we write that down somewhere, and we shuffle up all the same cards, and then we go into round 2. In round 2, you get to use one word only as a clue. It cannot be the name itself. Obviously, you can repeat that word as much as you like. No sounds, no gestures. And the teams can keep guessing. If they get it wrong in the first guess, you can say your one word again, watermelon, watermelon. If they say Angry Birds, watermelon. Oh, Gallagher, right, Gallagher. And then the third round, at the end of that round, of course, you write down your points again. And then the third round is just charades, no words, sound effects are okay within reason, it says in the rule book. Once you've scored the third round, then you add up the values of all 3 rounds, and whoever got the most points is the winner. That team is the winning team. So there you go. That's how you play Monikers. All right, so let's break it down, shall we? We're going to start from the top here with theme and setting. It's an easy one. This game doesn't really have a theme. There is no setting. It's an abstract game. Maybe not by the usual definition of what an abstract game is, but it's nothing I need to worry about. It doesn't take a hit for that, and it does not get a bonus for that. Leaving this one alone. Next up, we've got aesthetics. I think the card quality here And it's basically the only thing that's in there besides the rulebook, and we'll get back to the rulebook. Card quality is fantastic. These are really high quality cards. I was not expecting these cards to be linen finished, to be very well done. They are not the thickest cards ever, but by no means would I call these thin. They hold up super well. So no problem there. They're well laid out, very sort of sparse information on them, and the design recalls to mind most modern party games. I'm thinking here Cards Against Humanity type layouts. But these are good, and so I've got no problem with these. Very, very easy to deal with, good quality. We've got replay value. There are a ton of cards. Like I said, it's this whole thing, and they're everywhere now. There's a ton of them. Though, to be fair, some of them are going to be sort of pop culture references, which I think are going to feel dated. If they don't now, they will. And a lot of them are, or can be, US-centric. So it might be harder for this game to travel, to be played with folks that don't have any idea what some of these are referring to, just because they're not aware of the culture or the sort of pop references here in the US. The game arc, much like Celebrities and much like Time's Up, this is a game that is designed to be funnier in the follow-up rounds. Once you've gone through all the cards and you get to round 2, it's now about recalling those things, about giving your team the idea for that card, getting them to recall that card using a single word. So yes, that will lead to some comedy, to some confusion, and then of course in the third round you get into pantomiming, and again, ideally, that comedy kicks up again. I think that works. It's a proven system. It's a proven rhythm to a game like this. In this one, same thing. Obviously, a lot of that is going to depend on the cards themselves. You could have some ridiculous ones that when you get to pantomiming, you know they're going to be silly and goofy and very adult, maybe. I should point out this game is for ages 17 and up, so that is important to remember. Ease of play is my biggest problem here. I think the rulebook in this game is not good. I think this is a very... the rulebook is one of those that tries to get itself out of the way quickly. They're like, yeah, just shuffle up and play. Just have fun. Stop reading the rulebook and have fun. That seems to be the mentality behind it. It therefore is fairly vague. It doesn't say things like, can you keep guessing as much as you want to? That's especially a problem if someone is coming from a game like Time's Up, which has more structure than this one does. I think this one's a little more vague. I think that's on purpose, because the game plays a little more loose, right? I don't know why I did that. But that's my biggest problem with it. There's also one issue I have with it, and that is the game says, this is something that could have fixed in the rulebook too, 4 to 16 plus players. So technically, you can play with as many people as you want to. According to the rulebook, everybody is dealt 10 cards. Everybody picks 5. You shuffle those into one deck. That's great when you're playing with, 8 people maybe. 6 people, whatever. If you're playing with 24 people, that's too many cards. It's weird to me that they're not saying up to this many cards. Again, something that Time's Up does. You make a deck of 30 to 40 cards or whatever. In this one, you can do, whatever amount of cards you want to. I mean, it depends on the number of players. And I'm sure, again, the designers would say, well, don't be stupid. Pick a number that isn't going to make the game 3 hours long. True, but it's not in the rulebook is my point. This is pretty lackluster here. Lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. I did read the designers, one of the designers anyway, talk about how every decision made in this game during production was to encourage comedy. And I can see where they're coming from. I do think a more descriptive rulebook would have helped. I do think there's a couple of things along the way I might have changed that would have helped the game retain its comedy potential and still be a little clearer, still not trip people up as they're trying to figure out exactly how something is played. Some people don't care for that structure, but I think if you don't care for the structure, you can ignore it. I think if you do care for the structure and it isn't there, it will lock you up. I think that's the side you need to err on, is the side of giving the players more information and then letting them ignore it and not be such a stickler for the rules if they so choose. So, again, my big issue here is just this. Can you buy this box of cards and kind of make it your own game? Yes, absolutely. Do you not like the rule that you can guess as many as many guesses as you want during round 2 and round 3? Then change it. You can do that. You can say one guess and then you have to move on. You can change all these things, skipping cards, all of that. You can change those rules. I just think a little more descriptive would have been better. Having said all that, I don't dislike this game. I don't like every card. I think picking, 5 out of 10 should make it so that I can pick 5 I like, 5 I know. But it still will have a fun amount of silliness in it. I think it is adult, again, like I said, but for that crowd, if you want to play a goofy party game with charades and shrieking and loud noises, this is going to be a good one for that. And I do appreciate, and this is one thing I really do like, that the cards will have a description on them as to what this thing is or who it is. I think that is invaluable. I really do like that. The flip side of that sort of loosey-goosey nature that I'm talking about is that those two things, the description feels very nice, very structured. I really appreciate it. If I don't know who someone is, I can read that and be like, okay, I got it, yes. And then the victory point value seems like such a rigorous, important part of this when the game is saying, do whatever you want. So that's kind of interesting. But having said all that, yes, I did enjoy it. I would put it in the same ballpark as Time's Up. I think some people are very much going to like one over the other. I don't really. I'm good with either one. There's some usability things here in the cards that I like more. But the rulebook lets me down. And in the other one, I think it's the reverse. I think the rulebook's a little more structured, a little better. But some of the cards, the cards will never tell you what the thing is. If you don't know them, or the song, or the person, or whatever, you just don't know it. And that sucks. That's a problem. So there you go. So for me, Monikers is going to get the same thing I would give Time's Up. Don't love it, but I do like it. So this is going to get a 7 out of 10 from me. This gets a seal of approval. This is one I'll be happy to bring out in specific gatherings, in specific, groups with friends that want to be silly, maybe have a drink, maybe laugh and be dumb and jovial. I think this is going to go over well with those kinds of settings. So there you go. Monikers, 7 out of 10 from me. That is a seal of approval. And that's going to do it, folks. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.